Hey crafty friends, it's Rick. I'm back for Pajama Crafter Stamps today, and we're going to be making a super cute summertime card using these Berry Sweet Fruit Treat stamp set and dies. I've already stamped out my images, and I'm going to be coloring with Ohuhu markers today. I'm going to start off by coloring I decided it's lemonade. You can make it sweet tea or whatever, but since we were going with a fruit theme, I decided this was going to be lemonade. So I have put the colors up on the screen for the colors combinations I'm using. And to color up the glass of the pitcher, I'm using a gray. I can't remember what manganese gray, I think is what this is called. But I started out with my darkest color around the edges, and I'm coming in and I'm flicking a little bit of the other colors right over my lemonade so that it looks transparent. Both of those shades. I'm also using those same colors on the pie tin at the bottom so that I can make it look metallic as well. And it's all in the combinations you use. For the vase, or for the pitcher, I used very little of the darkest color and then just a little more of the lights. For the tin, I reversed that. And now we're going to color up our jam in our little jar. I decided it was strawberry jam because I had recently had a conversation with someone and we had talked about how they like strawberry jam. And I thought it was just perfect. So I'm coming in around the inside of the glass and coloring that up. And I'm going to come in with that same gray combination and color the glass of that. So here is the last part of my coloring for the jam. And you can see I left like a little center highlight, but we're coming around and leaving or adding in our shading for our glass. Because anytime you color a glass object, you are going to have reflections of what's inside plus what is surrounding the area. So that's something you need to remember. For my blueberries, since these are very small, I kind of started by outlining one side of each blueberry. If it was underneath, I colored the whole thing that one color, which is the darkest color at the top. And all my color combinations listed start with the darkest color and go to the left or go to the right for the lightest. So I'm coming back in now with a medium tone or a slightly darker tone than what we started for our shadows. And I'm adding in to blend that out and blending out with my mid-tone color at this point. And then I'm going to come in and blend all that out with my highlight color. So I'm just going to blend that out. Sorry. This is my mid-tone color. It's just, I chose a more muted blue color for the blueberries because to me blueberries are always a little bit more darker and muted. So I'm going to take those and get rid of those. I'm going to color up my little basket that my blueberries are in, and I decided to do them the green combination as if you picked them up out of the little store. If you could also done this brown as like it was a little basket. I'm trying to think where that you see those at. Most fruit stands now have the little paper baskets, which is what I colored the green color. So I'm using G470, G44, G420 is my mid-tone, and G410 is my highlight. For my stripes and my gingham, I switched out the darkest colors for a slightly darker color. I went to G490, and I'm just adding a little bit of that in the top and the bottom of the stripes of the paper where it would be the darkest. And then I'm just going to blend that out with my other two tones. Or three tones, I'm sorry. I can't talk today. This is apparently true. So for the gingham, I'm just going to kind of go every other square. And I'm adding in that darkest color right most of the time towards the bottom. And then I will blend that out with the other three colors going towards the top. The only place I did switch that up is in the inside of the basket where it's kind of curved over because the light would be hitting that slightly different. So that's something to remember is how your light hits is going to be where the shadow is. Like it would have, coming around the basket, would have shadows on both the top and the bottom of it. So, and then lighter towards the middle. For my crust of my pie, I'm going with E260, E40, and E220, and E280. I'm coming in with the E240 right now. I did add a little bit of additional lines work to the center around the little ruffles of the pie crust. And then I'm blending that out with the E20. And then I'm going to come in with the E280 and blend the rest of that out. Now, I'm going to cut that out with my matching dies, and we're going to work on our background panel. I'm just going to do an abstract grass and sky area. So I have used Moline and Twisted Citron for the grass, and Distress Oxides, and a little tumble glass for the sky. I did get a little bit of the green into my sky, so I had to come back and add a little bit more color to that. Apparently, I should have waited a little bit longer. I used Bristol cardstock, and I should have known better. For the inside of my card base, I'm using the craft cardstock, and I'm going to stamp an additional sentiment on the inside, and then a strawberry and the blueberries from the set in the inside, and I'm stamping that in Prize Ribbon Distressed Oxide, and I'm going to stamp it a couple times so that I can make sure I get it nice and dark enough. So I'm going to stamp it at least twice to make sure we're nice and dark. I don't want it to fade, and I did miss a little spot on the top of the strawberry, so I had to fill that in. Now there's our little scene, and we're going to take our pattern paper that I picked for this, and I just cut it out with the same postage die that you see, or that's for that same postage die that I cut out my panel with, and I just cut it slightly at an angle so that I could get the basket. Now I'm going to add my sentiment, and I'm going to do 3 different parts to the sentiment. I've done thank you, sweet friend, and the thank you, sweet, and friend are all separate stamps. So I decided the easiest way to do that was to do them all separately instead of trying to stamp it all at one time. That way I can get them a little bit closer and get that stamped up. So I'm going to go ahead and do my friend, and then I can take this panel out of my MISTI, and we are going to pull in our pieces, and I'm going to arrange them where I want them to go on my little picnic air blanket here. So since I decided we're having a fruit picnic, so that's what we're doing. So I'm going to arrange those slightly where I want them, and then I'm going to start adding them with foam tape for the ones in the front. So I've just taken little pieces of foam tape, and I've placed behind our little pieces. And then I'm going to do the same thing for our lemonade, because it's going to be popped in more in the front. The other 2 pieces, I'm going to go ahead and just attach down with some Barely Art glue, because they would be a little bit further behind, so they're not going to have much lift. That way it's going to make them look like they're more in the distance. So I did that with the jam and the blueberry. I'm going to pop up the lemonade now right in front of the jam. And now thinking back, I probably should have switched that up with done the pie on that side and done the glass on the other side so that it was a little bit different. But I didn't. So I'm just going to peel the backings off of my little pie, the stem of the pie. I had a little trouble. I'm going to take and pop this down. And I don't know why I didn't add Barely Art glue behind there to make it have a little bit of wiggle room. Who knows? I also took another piece of that same pattern paper and took the postage die that was slightly larger than the one that I used for my scene and cut that out. This is where all the colors of my pattern project came from. So I've added that to the card front, and I'm going to add my little panel to the center of that. Excuse me. And then I'm going to come in with my white gel pen and start adding my white details, especially on the glass objects. It's going to have more reflection and more highlight than the other things. Anything that's shiny is going to have a little bit more. So I'm adding more to those areas. And for the blueberries, I just kind of dotted in the center of each one to give it a little highlight. And along the edge, I'm going to add a little bit of glitter to the center of the jam jar on the heart, to the ice cubes, and to the blueberries, and to the top of the pie, and to the smoke, like it had just came out and it's nice and glistening. We're going to finish our card off by adding a few fairy dust rhinestones from Pajama Crafter Stamps. So I'm just kind of dotting those around. And that's a look at the finished card. If you like this video, you're probably going to like the one coming up next. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys. Love you. Stay crafty.